So we're going to talk about two of the weekend fights very quickly. We're dealing with Ryan Garcia versus Emmanuel Tagoe, and we're also dealing with Sebastian Fundora versus Erickson Lubin. Let me start off with Fundora versus Lubin. Now I only saw the highlights of both fights. I didn't watch the fights actually, either fight. But from what I saw with Erickson Lubin versus Sebastian Fundora, Fundora dropped Lubin with a beautiful check hook as Lubin was working on the inside. He had just hurt Fundora with an uppercut, and he caught him with a check hook and put him down. And then Lubin was taking a lot of punishment from Fundora, uppercuts and all these kinds of things. And then Lubin came back late in the fight and dropped. He hurt Fundora, and then he dropped him hard. And then from what I saw from the highlights, I can only talk from the highlights, Lubin looked like he was still in the game, but he was taking a lot of damage. And apparently, his trainer, uh, Cunningham, he stopped the fight because he thought that Lubin was taking too much punishment, which was kind of sad because Lubin was like, "Don't stop the fight." He was dialed in and everything, and he was doing his best to solve the equation that is Sebastian Fundora. So Fundora is, I think, 6'6". He's very, very tall, very, very long. Lubin overcame all of that to drop him, um, and was in the fight. But this is how boxing is, and so it's going to call the fight, and that was that. Um, there's two other fights I want to talk about. Uh, three other fights actually, but we'll talk about them when we get to them. Um, so the other fight that I thought was very interesting was Ryan Garcia versus Emmanuel Tagoe. Tagoe did a great job. He did a great job. Very slippery in there, controlling range, controlling distance, keeping his defense pretty tight. He did get dropped by Garcia. Or did he get dropped? Yes, he got dropped early in the second round, and then he got hurt in the 10th. But he was also throwing punches. A lot of people saying he wasn't throwing punches. He was looking to survive. I didn't see that. I saw him fighting smart, knowing how to vary distance and vary range, how he was using the shell defense to protect himself and basically pick off all the different shots that Ryan was throwing at him. Even though Ryan was throwing fast and different combinations, he was able to pick it off. He was able to get under some of the shots, stay low. Um, Ryan Garcia did a great job, though. He did a great job sharpshooting, staying behind his high guard, maintaining range, maintaining distance. Not trying to get Emmanuel all up on him on the inside. He was roughing him up on the inside as well, but Emmanuel was not going nowhere. This was a guy that was not going to get stopped. And I think that Ryan Garcia, he's going to work on some stuff to see if he can get guys like that stopped. But I'm just going to recall, for those people who don't know, go watch Floyd Mayweather versus Carlos Rios. Carlos Rios was one of those kinds of fighters as well, who you couldn't just stop like that because he had good defense. On top of that, he was more of a brawler. When he comes out fighting, he would brawl and throw you with looping shots, and he caught Floyd with some good left hooks. And the same thing happened with Emmanuel Tagoe. He caught Ryan Garcia with some good left hooks, and Ryan had to be aware of that and walk him down, respect him. Very Tagoe moved like a veteran, very shady, very slick, very tricky. All right. So shout out to that. We got some more fights to talk about. So the next two fights I will talk about for the weekend fights, I will talk about. So it went the distance, obviously, and Ryan Garcia won handily, but Taker was not taken out of the game, and he was game straight through the fight. Much shorter guy, shorter reach, everything. It reminds me, as I said before, Mayweather versus Carlos Rios. If you guys haven't seen that fight, good fighter though. Good fighter. Don't know. He may be a top contender, maybe in the future. Who knows? But what I can tell you is it was a good challenge for Ryan Garcia to step him up another level, and we'll see. Everything happens in time. And Ryan did not call out Tank. He said, I'm going to just deal with the process, what is realistic, what is not realistic. So I'm glad to see Ryan talking more in a grounded sort of way. And Ryan obviously has immense skills and abilities. It was great to see him in the ring doing this thing. Of course, Tank versus Rolando Raleigh is going to be a huge fight. Okay, those of you who don't know that, well, now you know. It's going to be a huge fight, and Devin Haney, of course, for the boxer's dream is Haney versus Kambosos. I can't wait for that. George Kambosos versus Devin Haney. That's going to be a good fight coming up. Of course, Canelo Alvarez versus Dimitri Bivol. That's another good fight coming up. I mean, we got a lot of good fights coming up this month. And we're going to talk about one of those big fights, which was Gennady Golovkin versus the Japanese kid whose name, it just slipped my mind just for a minute. Don't worry about it. I remember you, brother, but I just can't remember you right now. So I'm going to catch you guys later. I'm what you need. Peace. We're going on to the next video. You guys want to respond on the stream? It's fine. I'm streaming live.